When you take a look at this trade, who won on this side? Is it the Dallas Mavericks or is it the Lakers?
It's the Dallas Mavericks.
Breaking news out of the NBA, the Mavericks are expected to fire general manager Nico Harrison at 10 a.m. Central Time.
I feel like they got robbed of actually seeing the end, seeing this through, seeing Luka develop, into hopefully a champion one day. And it feels like they never got to see the end to this. So this was, very heartbreaking. And but now it's, I think it's time to move on.
That's the moment a franchise legend goes on national TV and basically calls the entire organization a full-on circus. When someone like Dirk Nowitzki, a guy who gave Dallas 21 years, stayed loyal through every rebuild, and never once chased drama, sits down and openly cooks the Mavericks front office, something snapped. Dirk isn't the type to talk slick or point fingers. So if even he couldn't hold back anymore, that means the situation reached a level nobody expected. And what Dirk said on Tuesday, that wasn't normal criticism. It sounded like a farewell speech to one of the wildest collapses this league has seen in years. Let's rewind for a second. Back in February, Dallas was fresh off an NBA Finals run. Less than a year ago, Luka Dončić had this team rolling, and the Mavericks finally built a real, balanced roster around him. They had wings who defended, rim-running bigs like Gafford and Lively, and they added Klay Thompson to fix the shooting struggles that haunted them during the Boston series. For once, everything clicked. The chemistry was tight, the rotations made sense, and Dallas opened the season on a blazing 14-3 run heading into Christmas. They weren't just good, they looked legitimately dangerous at exactly the right time. And then it all unraveled. Luka got hurt, and that injury ended up becoming the last time he ever wore a Mavericks jersey. Because out of nowhere, general manager Nico Harrison flipped the entire roster and sent Luka to the Lakers. Imagine that. Your superstar leads you to the finals. The team finally finds its rhythm, and instead of building on it, you move him. And when the trade details hit the internet, the entire NBA world stopped in disbelief.
This trade just made no sense. It made no sense to them, and really there was no explanation for it either. You go to the finals the year before. You give up all these assets to build really the team around Luka.
The Lakers walked away with Luka Dončić, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris, while Dallas received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-rounder. On paper, a few fans tried to convince themselves the Mavericks might survive if Davis miraculously stayed healthy. But deep down, everyone knew how that script ends. Betting on AD's durability has never worked, and Dallas dove straight into the risk anyway. And what followed was exactly what everyone, except Nico Harrison, could see coming. Davis arrived in Dallas and immediately began breaking down physically. Out of 42 possible games in the second half of the season, he appeared in only 14. Even worse, he exited 2 of those early due to injuries, meaning he actually completed just 12 full games in a Mavericks uniform. 12.
You are a Mavs legend. I know that your phone has been blowing up. Why did this move have to happen?
Well, I think there's just too many distractions, too much going on to keep going this way. This move should have probably happened this summer. Honestly, I didn't want this negative energy and this black cloud over the Cooper Flag era. But here we are.
And here's the wildest part. Anthony Davis still hasn't played 5 straight games for Dallas. Not once. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving hasn't stepped on the court all season, and Klay Thompson looks like a shell of the player he once was. A roster that was supposed to compete for a championship is now struggling just to stay in the playoff hunt. That's when Dirk Nowitzki stepped in and blew everything wide open. When news broke Tuesday that the Mavericks had fired Nico Harrison, Dirk went on national TV and didn't hold back. He said the move should have happened in the summer, not halfway through the season. Months ago, he already warned people. He talked about distractions, about a dark cloud hanging over the team before opening night. But the coldest line came when Dirk said the trade never made sense in the first place, and nobody ever offered a real explanation for why it happened. He called out the entire decision-making crew without hesitation. This is Dirk, 21 years of loyalty, the ultimate professional, the heart of Dallas basketball. And even he couldn't defend the chaos that unfolded in the Mavericks front office.
The leadership that we have is really elite, and you'll see next year when our team comes back, we're going to be competing for a championship.
Washington straight line drive. It's over the Pelicans. Black turns down the three. Oh! Klay Thompson lost it. So at this point, the mission is obvious.
Fire Nico! Fire Nico! Fire Nico!
When a franchise legend steps onto national television and openly calls his own organization a circus, you know something has gone seriously wrong. And when that legend is Dirk Nowitzki, a man who spent 21 years quietly carrying the Mavericks with loyalty, humility, and class, the message hits even harder. Dirk is not the type to stir drama. He doesn't take shots at people, he doesn't chase headlines, and he rarely criticizes anyone. So when even he couldn't stay silent anymore, it became painfully obvious. Dallas has spiraled into one of the most chaotic collapses we've seen in years. What Dirk said on Tuesday wasn't some emotional rant. It felt like a eulogy, a farewell speech for a team that lost its identity, its direction, and its sense of reality. So let's rewind. Just months ago, the Mavericks were fresh off an NBA Finals run. Luka Dončić had taken them further than they'd been since the Dirk era. And for the first time in years, Dallas finally built a team that actually complemented their superstar. They fixed weaknesses, strengthened the roster, added shooting, added size, added defensive versatility. Bringing in Klay Thompson looked like the final piece to cleanse the bitter taste of the Boston series. Everything felt aligned. They started the season on a 14-3 tear. They looked dangerous. They looked connected. They looked ready to make another run. And then the collapse began. Luka went down with an injury, something serious, but nowhere near career-threatening. Fans expected him to return in a few weeks. Instead, that injury ended up being his last game ever as a Maverick. Because Nico Harrison, the general manager, decided to flip the entire franchise upside down. He traded Luka Dončić. Not in the offseason. Not after years of failure. Not because Luka demanded out. He traded him mid-season, barely a year after reaching the NBA Finals. And not for a haul of young players or multiple picks or a long-term future package. He traded Luka for Anthony Davis, a superstar on paper, but a player whose injuries have defined the last half-decade of his career. The trade hit the internet like a bomb. Fans froze. Analysts froze. The league froze. The Lakers walked away with Luka Dončić, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris, while Dallas received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a future first-round pick. People tried to justify it. Maybe Davis would stay healthy. Maybe this was a bold move that could pay off. But deep down, everybody knew how this story ends. Anthony Davis does not stay healthy. And Dallas willingly walked into that reality. What happened next was predictable. Davis arrived in Dallas and instantly struggled to stay on the floor. Out of 42 possible games, he played in just 14, and even those 2 ended early. That means he completed 12 full games as a Maverick. 12. And the wildest part? He still hasn't played 5 straight games since arriving. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving hasn't suited up all season. Klay Thompson looks like a veteran fighting to keep up. And suddenly, a team built to contend is fighting just to stay alive in the playoff picture. That's when Dirk stepped in. When the news broke that Nico Harrison had been fired, Dirk didn't sugarcoat anything. He said the move should have happened months ago. In the summer, not halfway through a disaster. He said he warned everyone from the beginning. He talked about distractions. He talked about the dark cloud hanging over the team before the season even started. But the coldest moment was when he said the trade made no sense, and nobody ever explained why it happened. No clarity, no logic, no justification. Dirk didn't hold back. And coming from a guy who never attacks his own franchise, it meant everything. He exposed something fans had been feeling for months. Dallas robbed its own fan base. They spent years building the perfect roster for Luka. For the first time, everything fit. The chemistry, the talent, the coaching, the timeline. Finally, Dallas had a real shot. And then the front office threw it all away. Fans never got to see the ending of Luka's Dallas story. They didn't get to watch the roster grow into a champion. They didn't get to see year 2 after the finals run. That chance was taken from them. And the person who took it wasn't Luka, wasn't Kyrie, wasn't Klay. It was the general manager. And Dirk made sure the world heard that truth. But it gets deeper. Dirk wasn't just angry about losing Luka. He was furious about what they got back in return. Because Anthony Davis isn't simply injury-prone. He's a superstar tied to one of the most suffocating contracts in the NBA. This season, $54 million. Next season, $58 million. After that, $63 million. By 2027 to 2028, he will be one of the top 5 highest paid players in the entire league. Think about that. A player who has struggled to stay on the court for years, a player entering his mid-30s, is about to become a massive financial anchor for Dallas. And unlike Luka, Davis has no long-term bond with the city. No emotional ties. No legacy. No connection. He's been a Pelican, a Laker, and now a Maverick briefly. He's a basketball nomad passing through. Dirk also pointed out something even more alarming. Dallas is now stuck in a timeline collision. Their veteran core, Davis, Kyrie, Klay, is over 30, banged up, and declining. Their young core, Cooper Flag, Derek Lively, Max Christie, is under 23 and years away from their peak. 2 different eras, 2 different development curves, 2 different goals. And in the NBA, that never works. You can't chase a championship and rebuild at the same time. Teams who try almost always crash. And Dallas is crashing. The veteran window is closing. The youth window hasn't opened yet. And the franchise is stuck in the middle with no identity. Dirk knows this. The fans know this. The whole league knows this. That's why he said what he said. He wasn't attacking Dallas. He was protecting it. Dirk believes the Mavericks must pick a direction. Now, before this mess becomes unrecoverable. And the only direction that makes sense? Commit to the young core. Build around Cooper Flag. Keep Kyrie as the veteran bridge if he's healthy. Move on from what's not working. And trade Anthony Davis while he still has any value left. Because the truth is harsh. If Dallas waits even one more year, nobody will touch that contract. Dirk also highlighted something fans deeply understand. Anthony Davis has no emotional gravity in Dallas. He's not their guy. He's not the future. He's not the city's heart. Cooper Flag can be. So Dallas needs to lean into what's real, not what's broken. Dirk also talked about something bigger than basketball. Respect. Respect for the fans. Respect for the city. Respect for the franchise's legacy. Respect for the years of work that went into building a roster around Luka. Fans didn't just lose a superstar. They lost the continuation of a story they were emotionally invested in. They lost the chance to watch Luka chase greatness in their colors. They lost the future they were promised. And Dirk knows how much that hurts. He lived through the highs and lows, the rebuilds, the heartbreaks, the championships. He played his entire career for one team. He knows exactly what it means to represent a city. And he understands more than anyone what Dallas fans deserve. Which is why his message landed so hard. He said what everyone has been thinking. Dallas didn't just make a bad trade. They made a franchise-altering mistake. And firing Nico Harrison is just the first step in fixing it. Now comes the hard part. The next general manager must decide. Do you cling to what's broken, or do you build something new? Do you keep paying massive contracts for aging stars, or do you commit fully to the next era? Do you stay loyal to a mistake, or do you correct it before it destroys the future? These decisions will define Dallas for the next decade. Dirk's message wasn't about drama. It was about accountability and leadership. and understanding the weight of what was lost. But most importantly, it was a message of hope, the idea that Dallas still has a path forward if they choose it with courage. The Anthony Davis experiment is not the future. The veteran window is not the future. The youth is the future. And Dirk made it clear, it's time to commit.